This might be the most ambitious and original fantasy book I have ever read. The Spear Cuts Through Water, I'm rating it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Let's get into it. At its core, this book is about two men escorting a fallen god across a brutal empire, but the story is told through layered perspectives, blending first, second, and third perspectives all at once. So what works? The words themselves are gorgeous. The prose is dense and lyrical and beautiful. The themes are where this book really shines. It dives into things like history, trauma, identity, storytelling, desire, moral obligation, but it doesn't just touch on these themes. It builds everything around them in a very intentional way. The shifting POVs and the layered narration and narrative actually reinforce the themes in a way that feels almost clinically precise. The characters in this book feel completely fleshed out. None of them feel like an archetypal facade, and this book just has everything you want. It has crazy, violent battle scenes. It has really deep and expansive lore. It has romance. It has emotional payoffs. It has tension. It just never stops surprising you. Everything it does feeds back into its themes, and it makes it feel grand, mythic, and epic in a way that's really hard to describe. Almost like you're not just reading it, but you are actively in the story and also outside watching it and reading it at the same time. You just kind of have to dive in to understand what I'm saying. Now, what doesn't work? The structure of the book can definitely feel wonky at times. There aren't traditional chapters in this book, and with how often the POV changes, it can be kind of difficult to find that stopping point where you can kind of put the book down and then jump back into it later. In addition to that, there are a couple sections in the book, specifically toward the end, where the POV changes almost sentence to sentence. And while that does kind of leave you with this lingering kind of expansiveness and that kind of pull out of the view, it kind of does make you detach emotionally a bit in those sections. The plot pacing also feels a bit uneven at times, where there's definitely parts that are slower and other parts feel way more packed. But undoubtedly, those slower sections are building the groundwork, the framework, and letting you get acclimated so that those kind of more packed sections have their payoff. What about the reading experience? This book is not a passive read. You're definitely going to need to lock in. It can be a little disorienting and a little rough at the start, but once it clicks, it will feel really dreamlike and like you're experiencing a story firsthand that's also being told to you. This book made me think a lot of playing Dungeons and Dragons, and it's almost as if that narration style was put into a novel, where you're kind of getting world building, lore, character perspectives, all from these different sources. But this book never stopped surprising me, emotionally and creatively. I was pleasantly surprised by where the author was willing to take this story. Now, who's this for? If you like literary fantasy, if you like experimental storytelling and books that really push the meaning and the definition of what a novel can be, you will absolutely love this book. But if you're looking for an epic fantasy that is straightforward and easy to follow, this one is not the one for you. The Spear Cuts Through Water, that's 4.5 out of 5 stars for me. This book isn't perfect, but it is special. It really redefined what fantasy and what a novel can be for me. It was unimaginably creative, and it kept me on my toes, and I loved every twist and turn of the ride.